Hey guys, just a little teaser for what we've got coming up this week on Abby's Window. Jodie, take it away. Tell the guys what's going on. Jodie's got a theory teaser basically for all you guys, so she's going to give that to you right now.
All right. So when I was having my tattoo with the wonderful Kyle Scarborough yesterday, we spent the whole afternoon watching old Bray matches and talking about Bray theories and etc. And I had told him about a theory that C Wrestling and I had talked about a few months ago about Sister Abigail and the Fiend. And he kind of just said, I love that. So I wanted to put out this little teaser video. We'll delve more into it live on Abby's Window. But basically, if you go back to, and Jeff and Joe, I want your opinions on this too. If you go back to the Man in the Woods video, Abigail told Bray that he was the Man in the Woods. So the Fiend has always been a part of Bray. And we all know that. But Abigail was always the dominant voice in his head. We know he has a lot of voices in his head. He said that, he was having trouble with the voices in his head, and all of a sudden he started listening to them. So he's always had these voices in his head. The Fiend has always been with him, but Abigail was always the dominant voice. She was always the one that outshined all the others. She was always the one in control, if you want to put it that way. And, in a way you could see she was kind of the one that kept the Fiend in check and protected all the other voices, until Bray was thrown into the lake of reincarnation. Then all of a sudden they got separated, and we know that because right after that, and when he tagged up with Matt Hardy, he said Abigail doesn't live here anymore. So now all of a sudden Abigail's gone, and the Fiend becomes the dominant voice in his head. If you think about it this way too, all the puppets are afraid of the Fiend. Why? Because Abigail always kept him in check. She was always that, like I said, that dominant voice in his head. And then now all the puppets are afraid of him, but they're also all in the Firefly Funhouse. And the Firefly Funhouse is a safe place. It's a place where they can all feel safe. Why do they feel safe? Because Abby's there. She's in her window, perched, overlooking everybody, and she is still looking out for them. So my theory was, given all of this information, that Abigail and the Fiend are enemies. They don't like each other. They hate each other. Abby hates the Fiend hates Abby. Abby is mad because the Fiend is now in control, and the Fiend is angry because Abigail kept him silenced for all those years. So depending on where they want to go with this going forward, you could see this go in one of two ways. Abigail and the Fiend are these natural enemies. Obviously, people are going forward. You can see people, as we saw with Braun Strowman, people are always going to betray Funhouse Bray, and that will always give the Fiend somebody to go after. But if they are going to go down this line and the Fiend does have an end game, an end story, the only person realistically that ever controlled the Fiend was Abigail. So if the Fiend has an end game and there is an end to that story, the only person that can defeat him is Abby. How can Abby do that? Because she's a puppet. Abby needs a new host. And it has to be somebody that can be easily manipulated, somebody that's weak-minded, somebody that she knows, somebody that knows her, who was with Bray when all this came into place. All his brothers were with him in the Man in the Woods video. So anyway, that's kind of the short version of my little theory, that Abigail and the Fiend are enemies.
Very cool, guys. So, listen, if you want to hear more about this, we're going to talk about this as part of our live show this coming Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Abby's Window. Again, our first live show for the channel and the first live episode of Abby's. So, tune in Wednesday to hear more of this and we'll all talk about it. Brandy, myself, Jeff, and of course, our resident Abby, Jodie, will discuss this during that show. So don't miss it, guys. This coming Wednesday at 6 p.m., we are live. We will see you all then.